2, 1. You are now live on Channel 8 and YouTube.
Great, thank you, TCTV. It is now, good evening, everyone. It's now 6:30 p.m. I am Chairman Mike Curry, and I call the Select Board Business Meeting to order on this 12th day of June, 2024. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, our streaming announcement. I would like to remind everyone that today's meeting is being broadcast live on TCTV Cable Station 8 and our YouTube web platform. For those who wish to revisit any part of the proceedings, the recording will also be available on our YouTube channel. Your subscription to TCTV would be greatly appreciated. Additionally, if any audience members are recording or plan to record this meeting, please notify us prior to starting. Full board is here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On accessing information, our agenda tonight, along with other public documents, is available at templetonma.gov, our official website for town information. Here, you can also subscribe to alerts for all public meetings and our town administrator's weekly report. For immediate updates, including emergency notifications, please enroll in the Code Red alert system through our website or by calling 866-939-0911. This service is vital for staying informed on important and emergency matters. For agenda management, as chair, I maintain the discretion to modify tonight's agenda as needed to manage time effectively, utilize personnel resources efficiently, and ensure public awareness. I reserve the right to rearrange agenda items to best accommodate our proceedings and honor our guests. Welcome to new attendees. If this is your first time attending a select board, welcome. We are committed to serving the community with patience, fairness, and efficiency. We ask for the same courtesy and engagement from all participants tonight. Let's have a productive and respectful meeting. All right, our first item is approval of 2 sets of meeting minutes. You've got April 24th, 2024 as amended in your packet, and also amended May 29th, 24.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move to approve the meeting minutes of Wednesday, April 24th, 2024, as amended.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I do have one item.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Nope. Wrong set of meeting minutes. The next one I have something.
Any discussion on April 24th meeting minutes? All right, hearing none, I'm going to go for the vote on approval of the meeting minutes for April 24th, 2024. How do you vote, Tim? No. Jeff? Abstain. Terry?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Let the record stay, 3 yeses, 1 abstain, 1 no. Okay, entertain a motion for May 29th minutes.
So moved.
Okay, a motion for approval of the. I think I heard a second.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any discussion on the approval of meeting minutes for May 29th?
Okay, now this one I do have a point.
Okay.
So I'm going to move to amend the meeting minutes from Wednesday, May 29th, 2024. Under section 8, new business, item B, appointments. Rivard made a motion to appoint Peter Webster to the Board of Registrars with a term expiring 4/1/226, should read just 26.
Okay, do I have a motion? I mean, do I have a
So
second?
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. I have a motion. It's been seconded for amending the May 29th meeting minutes. I love these chairs. I'm already covered. Any further discussion? May 29th?
Yes. Down,
They're just all-
Page 1?
for the members for the Templeton Development Center Reuse Committee.
Yes.
It shows Griffiths and Bennett. It should be Griffiths and
Oh, yeah. Sorry, good catch, Jeff. Where is?
Oh, okay.
So it says Curry made a motion for Griffiths and should be Rivard to serve as liaisons to the Templeton Developmental Center Reuse Committee, seconded by Bennis, 5 yes.
Such, item 4, organizational actions for the select board is where
Yep.
that is.
Page 1.
Yep.
Griffiths and Rivard changed from Griffiths and Bennett.
And I as the mover accept the amendment.
Terry?
Second.
Any other observations? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. The amended meeting minutes from May 29th, approving them. How do you vote? Tim,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. 5 yeses. Moving on. We have no executive session minutes. We are now to citizen input. Any citizen input? Hi.
Mr. Gregory.
Thank you.
My first comment is you're a board of 5, you're not a board of 6.
I would concur with that.
So Mr. Lamontagne should probably move around the corner.
Aw.
Well, but the optics,
Okay.
okay, is that it's a board of 5, not a board of 6. Okay. And the second thing is that I'm hoping later on this evening in the conversation about town meeting, that there will be a further conversation about the violation of the town bylaw. And if not, you will have a complaint coming forth. Specifically about the fact that the reports were not ready at time of, at the place of polling. I don't know how you're going to address it because 4 of the 5 members were involved and your staff of 3 were also involved. And as such, you can't talk to town council because you're all personally involved. And the only person that can is Mr. Bennett because he was not involved. And it's a violation. And if you're going to hold town residents in violation of bylaws, then you need to hold yourselves to the same standard. Thank you.
Thanks. Is there any other public input, citizen input? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Thank you. Okay, next item is administrator comments. Mr. Lamontagne.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had the opportunity to attend the virtual court hearing in district court relative to the dog decision the board made. I thought it went well. We should be getting a decision sometime soon on that. And also I wanted to report to our revenues so far for fiscal year 24 are doing quite well. Right now we're at 97%. So I'm pretty confident we'll be well over 100%. By the end of the fiscal year. So the budget seems to be doing well. We're on track. Right now, our offices are working on, at your next meeting, you'll have a year-end transfer. You'll have a request for a revolving fund increase as well. So we're working on all the year-end activities and I'm really excited and I'm looking forward to hearing the presentation from our auditor, Paul Gargano, who's with us this evening via Zoom. And things are going well and thank you for letting me share that news with you. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Adam. All right, let's move on to new business. Adam, any introductions of new employees? It looks like it's none.
Next meeting, we should have the administrative assistant for Parks and Recreation.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's move on to annual appointments. And we've got quite a few in our packet to consider. Yes.
I have a concern about one of the appointments on Council on the Aging. according to the bylaws that was put into effect in 2021. Bylaw states for membership and appointments, the council shall consist of 5 members who shall serve without pay. Potential council members shall be nominated by a majority vote of the existing members of the council, and no member so nominated for council membership is to serve on the council until appointed by the select board. Such person shall be appointed on a rotating basis, each for a 3-year term. And there shall be at least a 1-year hiatus prior to reappointment after the second full term is served. I went to talk to Jackie Prime because I could find the meeting minutes of March 9th, of March 25th, and they did not vote on members, on these 2 members. So I asked her, the May minutes were not posted yet, and Jackie told me that they did not vote at that. I don't know if the council is aware of the bylaw or not, but if we want to follow the bylaw before the board can appoint these 2 people, the Council on the Aging has to vote to send, to approve them serving. And it's supposed to be for 3 years. They were initially appointed, these 2 people, in January of 2021 for till June of 2023. And then last year, for some reason, they were only appointed for 1 year.
Where they should have waited.
It should have been, well, I don't know why they were only appointed for a year when the bylaw says they should be appointed for a 3-year term.
Okay.
And in the annual town report of 2023, it shows their date that they served until 23. But they were appointed for 1 year in fiscal 23. So I don't know why the annual town report doesn't show their term ending June 30th, 2024, rather than 2023.
According to their vote.
It's, you know, if
We should clear that up. I think we can hold.
Yep. Just don't, we just won't list those, we just won't pull that, we won't pull those appointments.
Yeah, I mean, we can do the research and then come back to the appointments. You can you can,
I was gonna see if there's
Yeah.
any other discussion first.
any other, observations before Matt goes into a very lengthy motion?
One quick observation.
Yes,
When we did our meeting on May 29th and our reorganization, this would have been prudent to have brought forward at that point in time.
the Council on Aging.
All of these appointments. I'm very grateful that all these people have stepped up and are willing to serve.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little bit of a disservice that we didn't do this as we went through the reorganization and started making the appointments, just as a matter of practice.
Okay. Notes? For
Yeah.
next year.
yeah, because we need continuity.
I used to do it like that. And a few years ago, the board said they did not want it in the same as the reorganization. They'd rather have it in the next year. And the reappointments, you know, they're up until June 30th, so they have that mid-June to do. That's why it's done like that. If the board wants me to move it the next year, we can move on.
Town councils.
Oh, they do it. Excuse me, I can't hear what you just said.
Adam, could you repeat that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Town council has to be appointed in June.
Okay. I mean, like we're doing with Council on Aging, I would prefer to do them all as a batch. I mean, I understand what Tim's saying, and I understand that it changed from the way that they do it. So by practice, what does the board want to do moving forward? You want to do it in the annual organization meeting? Or is there structural, other than the town council, are there structural reasons for it to occur after in June? Tim, why do, what?
Well, if we presented this in May, okay, we just identified the challenge with Council on Aging. We would have had some time to work it through. So as we get to here, we have one more meeting that we can potentially appoint. But their positions, one, they're already expired. We're looking to reappoint, but It would just give us a little bit of time to figure out where the disconnects are.
As I spoke with Jack Prime, I told her I was gonna bring this up, and that Council on the Aging, she said she was gonna speak to them, so they would have time, they have time to post the meeting so they could vote. So these people would potentially get reappointed at our last June meeting.
But if we moved it up to the organization meeting, then what would have stopped the same error?
But I just think that would be,
Not error, but
it's,
oversight for.
if we talk about that at, say, the next meeting, and maybe put that in the operating procedures of the selectmen, so when we do annual appointments, unless there's one specific that we have to do at a certain time of the year or month, that we could just do them then and get it knocked out.
But updating our procedure because they failed to vote. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm not sure, I don't know if they knew, if they're aware of the bylaw.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's ever said. And I don't know if we're aware of the bylaw and bothered to check because they're just on here. And like I said, last year I watched the meeting, they were appointed for 1 year. All the appointments were done for a year instead of the required 3-year appointment. I don't know why it was a 1 year, but I went and watched the meeting and I got the minutes and they were all appointed for 1 year. But appointing them here when the Council on the Aging did not vote to put these two people forward. You know, and I would suggest maybe looking at the bylaw at a later date to change it and to remove that, because to me, it makes it harder to get people appointed to the committees. And like Tim said, and we're not the only town, but it's hard to get a lot of people to get on all these committees that we have. So it should, to me, it would be make it easier rather than harder.
Okay.
So moving forward, like I said, we could look at that bylaw and maybe take some of that verbiage out of there. So it's almost like a two-step process, it's making it harder. And they just, yes,
Two separate things there, looking at the COAs structured to get people in front of us for reappointment, and then having a consolidated organization board where we're doing it all.
Mr. Chair, the fact that the bylaw said you have to take a year off.
Yeah, I think that's part of the clarification to go back to the COA, but obviously, as Matt's gonna make that motion, we're gonna hold off on those. Tim, I can work with you offline.
Absolutely,
On reorganizing that.
absolutely.
Just one more comment.
Yes.
I think I had it backwards when I mentioned before that the board changed it. I had the board's appointments, which I used to put on the table, people to pick, with the annual appointments in June, in the first meeting in June. Sorry about that. And then I think the board just kind of started doing the appointments with their reorganization, so that's why I split.
Okay.
So we could do it all together in June.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I mean, I think that makes sense. If we're doing organization and otherwise, it makes sense to do it all together. That way, it's one effort to be able to get all the appointments. So, yeah, moving forward, I think we can fix that.
And it also does allow for, if we do it all at once, then if we catch something like this, it gives more time for those groups to figure it out and come back.
I guess that's the theory.
I
Yeah.
think that, yeah, and at the end of the day, that's probably what we want is, give more time to be able to give them a chance if necessary.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
it's gonna take a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I move to make the annual fiscal year 2020 or fiscal year 2025 appointments to the Agricultural Commission, Andre Chartier, Carrie Novak, David Peace, and Timothy Roddy for 3-year terms to expire on June 30th, 2027. To the Cable TV Advisory Committee, Patricia Gale, Alexander Gage Pacier, and Sean Lampert for 1-year terms to end on June 30th, 2025. To the Capital Improvements Committee, Justice Graves for a 1-year term to end on June 30th, 2025. To the Conservation Commission, David Simons for a 3-year term to end on June 30th, 2027. The Cultural Council, Ann Lyons for a 3-year term to end on June 30th, 2027. To the library trustees, Maria Barnes and John Henshaw for 1-year terms to end on June 30th, 2025. To the MART Advisory Board, Adam Lamontagne for a 1-year term to end on June 30th, 2025. To the official marker of boundaries, Fred Henshaw for a 1-year term to end on June 30th, 2025. To the Open Space Committee, John Henshaw, Carrie Novak, and Dennis Rich for 1-year terms to end on June 30th, 2025. To the Recreation Commission, Candace Graves, Hunter Graves, Derek Sutton, and Jessica Sutton for 1-year terms to end on June 30th, 2025. Town Council, the firm of Harrington Heap, for a 1-year term to end on June 30th, 2025. A Tree Warden, Robert Soshik, for a 3-year term to end on June 30th, 2027. Veterans Grave Officer Michelle Durkee for a 1-year term to end on June 30th, 2025. For the Zoning Board of Appeals, Alan Drowan and David Smart for 5-year terms to end on June 30th, 2029.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none on the motion that Matt made for all of the annual FY 2025 reappointments. How would you vote, Tim?
Yes.
Jeff?
I'm opposed to town council, so I have to vote no.
Terry?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. It's 4 yeses and 1. All right. Congratulations to all our new appointees. We'll take care of Council on Aging before. Okay, next we have a presentation of our FY 23 audit. I know that we had voted on it earlier, but this evening we have Paul Gargano with us. Paul, we have the entire report to include the opening letter, but what I'd like to do is give you the floor, any presentation that you have this evening, and then I'd like to open it up for questions. Looks like we've got Kelly Paprianis with us as well, town accountant. So Paul, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Again, I'm Paul Gargano. I'm with Roselli Clark and Associates, the auditor of the town. I'm happy to report there were no difficulties that we encountered during the FY 23 audit, and the town earned another clean audit opinion. The reserves remained pretty constant. The unassigned fund balance in the general fund remains at about 20% of expenditures, which is a healthy percentage, and it puts you in pretty good standing. The total general fund balance is about 25% of total expenditures, which again remain consistent and puts you in pretty good standing. In addition, we in our governance letter that you may have a copy of, we highlighted a few items, about 11 items that we communicated to management. Most of them are continuing, they're informational items or they're continuing items from the prior year. There's really only one new item that we ran into this year, which is a good thing, that we really didn't, like, as I said before, we didn't encounter many difficulties. It was a pretty clean year. In the prior year, we recommended to the treasurer to, stay on the investment balance, the investment of the cash balances. In 22, you earned less than $10,000 in interest. In 23, following our advice, you increased that to over $55,000. And after talking with the town during the audit, it appeared you were on track to be close to or over $100,000 in FY 24. So based on what the Fed did today, it looks like these higher rates are going to be around for the near future anyway. So I would continue to have the treasurer watch out for maintaining the balances in the appropriate accounts. Next, we always talk about fraud and cyber security. When we initially put these comments in about 10 years ago, we didn't figure we'd continue them, but honestly, I can't see us getting rid of them at this point. We always want you to remain vigilant, and we always bring it up every year. I think we have to. Unfortunately, you may have seen it in the news within the past week, a town north of Boston lost nearly $450,000 due to an email phishing and spoofing scam. So you can never let your guard down. And particularly what we see a lot too is, when people try to change payment options, whether it's through payroll or a vendor, you should always make any changes in person. Never do anything through email. That is the most common fraud out there. It's very easy to, have, an employee get an email that seems like it's coming from an employee that says, "Oh, please change my bank account." Always make them come in person, and any vendor that wants to change, any type of electronic payment, that needs to be an actual hard copy, and you got to be very vigilant. Next, we talk about ARPA. You had about $2 million unspent at June 30th, 23. So we just want to caution everyone that, again, I'm sure you're aware, but December 31st, 24 is that key deadline where everything has to be obligated. We just want to remind everyone that obligation means it needs to be contractually obligated, or actual, you have to actually have an order in hand. You need to prove that you ordered that item or the service, or if it's payroll, that you have it in writing in an agreement by the end of this year. Don't want anyone to have to return any money. And then once you have that obligation down, then you have the 2-year run out to actually liquidate and spend the full money. But with $2 million unspent, I would expect that to be the subject of an audit in 24 or 25, if not both. Not sure exactly how you spent it down in 24 and 25, but that would be subject to a federal award audit in at least one of those 2 years. Your long-term liabilities stayed fairly consistent. The OPEB liability stayed fairly consistent. It actually went, the liability went down slightly based on your contributions. Actually, the liability for the Worcester County retirement system actually dipped below 50% funded, unfortunately. That was due mainly to investment returns, which we would expect to rebound as the market rebounded. So it really should only be a timing issue. And we also caution that, when you're fully funded in about 10 or 11 years, that extra savings from your retirement system appropriation, when that lowers, we really highly recommend that most, if not all, that now gets pushed towards your OPEB or other post-employment benefit liability. So it remains to be seen, but right now, that liability is not going away and getting smaller. So it really needs to be attacked pretty aggressively. One of the, if not the only new comment, is regarding the assessor's reserve for abatement accounts. If you take the reserve for abatements, which is your reserve for any outstanding taxes and any claims that could potentially come against the town from the appellate tax board, if you compare that to the actual potential liabilities, it would appear you have about $500,000 surplus in that account. So we recommend the assessors go through that account in more detail, to determine the actual surplus, and then that would give you guys the ability to declare that a surplus and then use that, basically like free cash. It can be used on anything. We don't typically recommend a high balance in the allowance. Obviously, you want some cushion. You never want it to run into a deficit, but there definitely is a healthy surplus that should be reviewed and analyzed. The remaining comments were, again, repeat comments. We recommend that the Treasurer Collector's Office complete a cash forecast, and also to continue to monitor their bank accounts to determine if there are any bank accounts that can be consolidated or closed, if their purpose has run out, or if there's just no activity and then there's no good reason to have it open, we would expect the treasurer to consolidate those accounts down. Just, it's more of an efficiency issue. Next, capital assets. It would appear that the last time the capital assets inventory listing was reviewed in detail was, nearly 15 years ago. So realistically, the town accountant should go through with each department, have them review the listing to see what's still in service and what's not, and anything not in service should be reduced off the capital assets of the town. It shouldn't have any impact financially on the financial statements, because in theory, most of those should be fully depreciated, but it is a housekeeping item that should be dealt with from time to time. Another minor housekeeping item, there's 2 escrow accounts that have been maintained on the balance sheet. They're in a deficit. If those are determined to be an actual deficit, those should be raised on the recap just to eliminate and get those off the books. And we've made a comment in the past several years about the indirect costs. The way it's presented on the tax recap isn't necessarily in accordance with the Department of Revenue's best practice. They're shown as receipts and expenditures instead of a transfer of funds. And also, there are some times where the full transfer isn't made that's budgeted if there's not enough resources to be made. So that's again not a best practice. So we would recommend that those issues get looked at. And finally, police detail. As you're probably well aware, the officers that run those private details get paid when they do the detail, and then you're collecting the money from the vendors after the fact. So necessarily that fund is run in a deficit. So it's very important to maintain an accurate accounts receivable detail, so you have valid receivables that will make up that deficit when fully collected. For the past several years, it doesn't look like a full reconciliation has occurred. So we could not tell if there was a deficit in that account. So we would recommend that the police and the town accountant create a reconciliation practice between the two departments to, one, determine if there is a deficit, and if there is, that should be again raised on the recap like any other deficit. And then going forward, they should reconcile on a regular basis. And that's all I had. Is there any questions?
Thank you, Paul. I know, just to start it off, I noticed that there were a lot of policy recommendations as well. Whether it was, like you said, it's a lot of minor things that that you have a policy or a procedure to do something. So I think that's something that we could work at to update our, as part of our mitigation plan, is to update the policies. I know that we've done a few of them in the past, but to basically consolidate each area that the audit has highlighted a specific policy recommendation, I think that's entirely achievable to have a working group look at that. That was my observation, other
Yes.
than some of the other ones that she put out there. I'm gonna open it up to questions from the board. Questions or observations. But I appreciate your report, Paul.
Thank you.
Anything for Mr. Gargano?
Very comprehensive report. Thank you.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Finding it is really, I think the first one that came down the pipe was.
Mind boggling.
Yeah. Yeah. Any questions, observations? Okay. We've already voted to accept it the last time. So, again, Mr. Gargano, thank you very much. We appreciate, you and the Roselli office for all that you do for us. And, I echo, Tim's comment on, the comprehensiveness. To Kelly, if, I don't know if you have any comments on it, I'd like to work on, every year we come up with a mitigation plan to be able to go through some of the easy kills, and then some of the other ones that we may have to have some policy discussions on. Do you have any observations that you'd like to share?
Well, the only a couple that I have is that, we have started doing the cash forecasting. So that when we can check off the list for this time. The police detail, I've been working with Eric Baker on that. And we are making some headway. There was a you know, he was out on leave for a while and he's the one that handles that at the police department. So there was kind of we just didn't get reconciled very well that year and it just kind of snowballed, but we're back on track now with that. You know, the one that just continually is an issue is the light, water, and sewer. They've been, you know, since I've been here for 10 years, that's been, you know, on the list that at some point we really need to try to, you know, resolve that. I don't know if that's, you know, we can move to talks with them about that, just to see, you know, because we could get that one cleared off. The two that need to be raised on the recap, I'll do that this year to clear those out, so they'll be on. But other than that, everything else was pretty, you know, we were doing good, keeping things on top of, you know, making sure everything's working and that we're in a good financial place.
Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, I'd like to work, you know, with the financial team to be able to come up with the things that you've already identified as go-dos and then way forward for the rest of them. But again, Paul, thank you for the audit and the presentation this evening.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Have a
Thanks,
good-
Paul.
Thank you.
Okay, next item in new business, items, D, action related to Bradlilly Company doing business as the Country Cafe, change of hours.
Hi, this is John. Actually the Country Cafe and the Templeton Country Cafe and Pub now, but regardless, we're interested in extending, or I'm not sure if the word's extending, but changing our hours for Sundays to be consistent with Monday through Saturday for the liquor license, which allows us to start serving at 8 a.m. We close at 8 p.m., so the nighttime hours aren't necessarily an issue for us.
Can he do that?
Yes, that's something that the board can approve, and we just send notification to the ABCC. Can I just make a comment really quick?
Yes.
John?
Yep.
You had said it's Templeton Cafe and Pub now?
Well, the DBA is, the license is held by Bradlilly Company.
Well, sort of. It's held by Bradlilly Company, DBA. What was the other one? The Country
Templeton.
Cafe. So you are
Templeton.
gonna need to do a change of DBA with us, and I can email you about that.
All right, perfect. I will gladly do so.
Okay. And he has everything in compliance.
Okay.
to Be able to do that.
And this would, like he said, this would be aligning it with some of the other hours that he has. My question was it legal to do so on a Sunday? And if it's within our purview to do that, then I leave it up to the board.
We just want to be able to serve mimosas and, light cocktails on Sunday mornings as we do the rest of the mornings.
That was very specific.
Well,
Third shift,
typically,
Bloody Mary.
nobody's ordering, beer at 8 a.m., but people do like to have Bloody
Did you say Bloody
Marys,
Mary?
Bloody
said-
Marys. And,
I heard it. I thought it came out of that thing.
no, I'm with my manager, Alicia Gogan.
Ah, that's what I heard. I thought you said it, Terry, and I was
No,
like, that
this
is
is-
out of character.
Well, this year I did have a child.
Any discussion on extending the hour, or actually moving the hour to 8 a.m.?
Can I just comment?
Yes.
For some folks that work third shift, that's their night. So they look for places like that to have to work.
Yeah, that happens once in a while, but not too often, but true.
I would accept a motion if there's no other discussion.
Mr. Chair,
Discussion. Yes.
I move to approve the Bradlilly Company, DBA, the Country Cafe and Pub, change of hours. It says just Country Cafe.
Got to be Country Cafe until he files the appropriate paperwork.
Country Cafe,
Yep.
change of hours.
Okay, I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? On changing those hours. Okay, hearing none on the motion to approve Bradlilly Company doing business as the Country Cafe change of hours. How do you vote? Tim?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well.
Thank you, everyone.
All right,
Congratulations.
it's a good day for
Thank you.
mimosas and Bloody Marys.
All right. Hey, Holly, send me over that paperwork and I'll make sure I get it taken care of.
Yeah, I will email you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Okay, next item is action related to an open meeting law complaint. In your packet, you have an open meeting law complaint from Julie Richard of Orchard Lane. One of the public body is us. Specifically was, the complaint was an item on the agenda. There was discussion that was not related to an item on the agenda. I had already started to put together something, what I'd ask for the board, to be able to put that together with town councils and then come back to you. We are speaking about it within 14 business days. I'd put it together with town council and then come back to you for approval to send.
Mr. Chair, I move to have the chair respond with input from town council.
Okay, I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Like I said, I'd come back to you with the response, and the response goes to Ms. Richard, and it also goes to the open meeting law.
Is that gonna give us enough time?
Yes, we're talking about it within 14 business days, and then we have to, after that, we have to react to the 14 business days. I will have it in the packet. I will not be here for the next meeting, but I will have it in the packet for you to vote on. And that is sufficient to get it, you send it the next morning.
Right, because it's business days, that would be 10 business days.
That is correct.
Okay, I think
No,
it's 10.
it's 14 business days.
Right, so our next meeting would be 10.
Yes, that's
So we'd
correct.
have a 4-day pad there. Yeah,
Yes.
we're okay.
Good catch.
Any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none on the motion to have the chair respond with input from town council, how do you vote? Tim?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is action related to Templeton Community TV exterior sign request at Scout Hall.
Good evening, board.
How are you, Bob?
Solzek, Director of Public Services in Templeton. The board instructed Mr. Castle to, any requests or altercations, Scouts Hall to see me. Steve made up a list. I met with Steve, went all over the list. One thing on his list he was asking for was a exterior sign. And I wasn't comfortable enough in giving him that decision without running it through you guys first. Looking at the building, I really don't see a place on the front of the building and it kind of be out of balance. My recommendation, if you do award this, is maybe a smaller sign out in the island once all the construction is done. We do plan on also running power out to that island from the building for the flagpole in the Christmas tree. The electrician next door is willing to donate the material and time to do that when we have time available to do it. So he's requesting a sign to be put out outside. So if you want to discuss that, I don't know what he has in mind, but I just wanted to run it through you guys. So everybody's on the same page.
Okay.
Steve?
Yep. So we just move over. I'll share it with you, Bob. This space, not this chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd like a sign on the front of the building if possible, just so people can see that we're there. And I've already had when we're there, people pull in, to pick up somebody or so forth. And I think there's some room on the left side of the door. There's about 2 feet. And, we'd like a sign with the TCTV green logo so people can make us out. And below that, the Montechusett TV logo and the Digital Lab logo. And I think we could go as big as 2 by 2 if we wanted to. And we could design that and have it produced.
Could you do a mock-up and then also consider what Bob is proposing as well, and then come back to us? I think that would be better, that way we're able to visualize it and give you some time to be able to consider what Bob's offer is as well. I was at one of the sub shops across the street getting dinner, and I looked across there knowing this was on our agenda, and I understand what Bob's saying in terms of white space, available space on there, so that's my concern. I'd like to see what your mock-up would be, to see if that is aesthetically, like it works for the period building it is. It's not a strip mall or whatever, it's Scout Hall, it's got some history to it or otherwise.
Absolutely.
But I'd love to see a mock-up, or how the board feels about it, a mock-up, and then do a little consideration of, giving you some time. Matt, did you have something?
I would also, I definitely would want to see a mock-up of this. But I also would like to consider the island, a sign in the island for multiple reasons. Number one, I wouldn't want, I am also concerned about putting too much on the side of a historic building. But I also think that you're gonna get more visual impact by it being on the island where it can face traffic, as opposed to it being on the building where people have to turn to see it, and it being a distraction to traffic as well. So I think that actually the island sign might actually do you more good. So that's why I want you to consider that.
I will consider it, definitely. My feeling, if you will, though, is when, how soon can you get a sign out on the island with all the construction? And
That's
so we have to wait for all of that to end, and in the
I'm concerned
meantime,
about timing.
I'm not, yeah.
it'd be nice to have something on the building anyways, it's always like, hey, they say there's, I already tell people where it is. Look for the building that looks like a church, and it's the one next to it. Only the church doesn't have a steeple anymore, so it's not difficult.
Just say Scott Hall.
Always put a temporary one out on the island.
No, people aren't familiar with it, and it's good to have a sign to identify yourself that, hey, this is where you do business.
Wasn't there a big sign in front of the bushes in the front, right?
That's partly removed, we're gonna finish removing.
Could you reconstruct one there, Scout Hall, home of TCTV?
That looked like.
We'll do mock-ups of the sign and consider the island as well.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
There were a couple other things on the list too that, Bob and I don't know. Mike, when we had met there, you had said that the select board may have money to help out with a broom closet that's needed in the bathroom. We need to have a broom closet for the brooms. and
Seeing as how I can't even buy chairs right now, where we are in the year, but I understand what you're saying.
And it's $200 to $300 on Amazon, and I think it's good to have that stuff locked up, especially if you have clean stuff like chemicals in there.
Yep, the only thing that we had for discussion tonight was the sign. As I just came off of another open meeting law complaint was all about agenda items, and here I am right on the next agenda
Yeah.
item, talking about going off of it.
It's in the letter.
Yep, understood. The only thing that there was that Bob was, I think we can talk the rest.
And we do need a soap dispenser. There's no soap dispenser in the back.
Okay.
So.
I'm
just telling you.
sure that building
I
and
have one,
grounds.
I thought it was-
Yeah, I don't,
We just have closet supplies, that's it. Wouldn't-
hang on one sec. Any other discussion?
Yeah, my only thing would be, you mentioning the agenda item. If there's an email sent and it includes you know, it talks about Steve would like a sign out front. You mentioned the closet and this and that. You get this email when you put the agenda together, you know, we could pay a little attention.
Yeah, I wasn't being
to
definitive,
stuff
Jeff.
and-
I was
and
just
put
saying.
that in the
Yep.
agenda to be
Yeah,
specific,
okay.
just to avoid those little hiccups, those things that.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Any other board discussion? Liz, did you have something?
Yes, it's just,
Just a little bit louder so we can,
yeah, I'm a little confused because there doesn't seem to be consistency when it comes to when a sign approval needs to come in front of the board and when it doesn't. There are signs that have been put out throughout town in the past year and a half that I don't believe came in front of this board. And now this one does. What is the select board policy on when it has to and when doesn't it? Because I'm just looking for consistency, that's all.
thank you. It's before us because the DPW asked for it.
Not only that, it's a new old building being shared with the town, and I want to make sure.
Okay.
Everybody's approving what's
Yep.
going on.
May I?
Yes.
Just a clarification on that if a town manager decides that they need a sign put up, they don't need to come in front of the board.
I leave that to the discretion of buildings and grounds. In this case, I'm not good, I mean, I understand there's a signed bylaw, right? I get that, but we're talking about a very specific situation where the DPW director just got finished using CPC money to get this hall put together. And it was, instead of throwing stuff on the exterior, he brought it to us for our consideration. I appreciate that, and I think we can even move forward and actually have some consensus to be able to come up and fix it for all parties. But I understand what your comment was on consistency for how you're doing other signs.
Other town signs, yes.
Terry,
Mr. Chair, to my knowledge, when we discussed this at our last meeting, it was with the addendum that what Steve would have to talk to Bob. So we're just following what we discussed at our last meeting, and this is simply
I agree.
Bob and Steve going by what we had established instead of formal policy for the building.
Yes, correct. So the motion would be to just table for the next meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Tim. Do I have a second?
So seconded.
Sorry. Matt was the second. On the motion to table, any discussion? We can table this to the next meeting. That would be the
27.
27th.
26th, I'm sorry.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none on the motion to table to the next select board meeting. How do you vote, Tim? Yes. Jeff?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Thanks. Appreciate it,
Thank you.
gentlemen. Thank you for the
Look
debate.
forward to the markups.
Okay. Next item, G, action related to Town Hall Cupola Bid Award. In your packet, Town Administrator has given us the bid results of May 22nd. There were 3 bids. Bichette Construction, the Olson Company, and Scholar Painting and Restoration. The apparent low bidder is Bichette Construction, $24,400. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely.
I raised a question at our last meeting when we tabled this. And through you to the town administrator, I would like to get an answer. It's a one-word answer, yes or no. Does Fichette Construction have the required bond to accept the bid?
Simple as a one word answer. Mr. Chair.
It's a one-word answer, Mr. Lewontin, and I'll explain why in just a minute.
Can't give. Payment bond's not required.
Well,
25K.
I mean, he's catching you and giving one word. I mean, if you're, are you gonna allow him to explain himself?
Well,
However he answers.
go ahead.
Okay.
I think that is a sidestepping and skirting the issue because we did talk about this at the last meeting, even though it was disallowed. But before you answer, I want you to take something in consideration. 1/4/2023, Fichette Construction did the bathrooms, Gilman Wakefield, $8,200. October 23rd, they were deemed non-responsive bidder due to the lack of proper bonding. Now we see them in front of us again. That is why I said a one-word response, yes or no. If we don't know, then we're improperly awarding the bid, in my humble opinion.
Okay. Could you give a one-word response for Kim, and then if you need to qualify it? Just explain it.
Okay.
One word answer is.
As a one word answer,
I
so
know.
I gotta explain, Mr. Chair, with all due respect. A payment bond's required under mass bidding law. If it's over 25K. 25K or over. This is under.
So your answer would be
25K.
what? I want to give Tim what he's looking for. Just, can you give him his one-word answer? I think.
No.
No,
It's a
Mr.
no.
Chair,
It's no.
Mr. Chair, I don't need the answer. I also don't need the,
But we're not trying, I mean,
allow me to finish.
okay.
If he doesn't want to give a one-word answer, that's fine. I do not agree with all this political rhetoric and vitriol every time we bring something to the table. This has got to stop.
Understood. Adam, the answer is no. Would you explain the consideration?
It's up to the board whether they want to award it or not, Mr. Chair. I did the procurement. It's completed properly and it's up to the board.
This is not helpful. Bob,
Mr. Chair, if I may describe and discuss, I can't give you a one-word answer either. I need to explain what the situation is.
can you do that, or Adam?
I can do it.
Okay, could you come up to the microphone, please?
Bob Sozik, Director of Public Services for Templeton. Fichette Construction, for one, does a lot of work in the town of Templeton, a lot of small projects. Yes, there was a job, Scouts Hall. He bid it on, he couldn't get the bond. Reason being, he was too young and being self-employed. We don't know if he can get a bond for this one or not until the contract is awarded to him. He's in better standing than he was from the last time he was requested to get a bond. Thus being said, I could be wrong, but this might fall under requesting a bond at 24.5, like Adam said. I believe a bond is requested at 25 and above.
Okay, can we explore that? Is it required?
He can't,
Comment. This is just painful to watch.
Well, I'm trying,
A bond
I
is
under,
not
everyone, he has
required.
questions, there are answers.
I understand, but a bond is not required on this bid because it's under 25,000 in that category.
Thank you for that. So the answer is no.
No, we don't have one, but we don't need one. So it's no/no. Yes.
Thank you for that. Honesty, I appreciate it.
Sorry.
No, he did not say that. He told me he could not give me a one-word answer.
I just wanted to explain that to him, what his situation is and what the bond is. No contractor can get a bond until they awarded the contract for the town.
So I understand what you're saying for painful. The board we are, getting more and more diverse in terms of our questions and otherwise. If each individual board member has some information requirements, I'm not going to tell Tim, how to answer a question. He had a valid question, and yeah, it was, you did put him in a spot, but give the qualified answer afterwards.
Mr. Chair, he did. I was sitting right there. I heard him say exactly what Holly said. I don't know where the
Like
disconnect
Liz said
came.
earlier, you gotta speak up because the rest of the room can't hear. I understand that's the situation as well. You know, these are public meetings and we've got to be able to go through them. Every board member has the ability to ask questions, whether it's please and thank you with sugar on top or a direct, give me an answer. The board at least has that, you know, they have that ability to ask the question. So going forward, a bond is not required for a 25 and under project. May I ask the question, what was this funded at? What was this project funded at? What is the available
I think
funds?
CPC awarded $30,000.
30,000, okay. So the bid is under, and it's under the state threshold for a required bond.
When we did everything properly, we put it out to bid. We had invitations of inspections. Contractors come and view the cupola with the support of the fire department and the ladder truck. The only one that came out was Fischette Construction.
Okay. Bob, I got a question for you. At 24-4, was it a technically acceptable bid? Can the work be done by Fischette Construction for 24-4?
Gordon, speaking with Fischette Construction, yes.
Okay,
He plans on using a lift out in the front. He's able to get the other three sides up on the building and some staging. He's gonna rent the lift for a couple of days to do the front side.
Yep.
He went up there, he's aware of all the rot and the removal of the louvers and tying in flashing and everything, so.
it's present during opening outside of Templeton Hall, Holly and Bob Sozik, you're my technical guy, so if you're making the assessment that that's a technically acceptable bid to get it done under 24-4, because the alternative is someone underbids and then there's not enough and you wind up having change orders on change orders. And I don't want-
It's like Scouts Hall, he was low on Scouts Hall, and we had other bids that were out of the water. I believe we got two other bids that were, the bidding is so far apart lately, I don't know why.
For the board, I think that's a fair, when you have a disparity of amounts here.
Mm.
I think that's a fair question to make sure that the bid is technically acceptable. And I trust Bob's judgment.
Mr. Chair. Bob, how's he worked out so far? Is his work Getting out now?
I'm very impressed in the way he treats the town and responds to our needs and small stuff. It's very hard to get a contract like that today to fix a bathroom or do some door work or minor stuff. When they call him, he takes care of us. I mean, you guys should be happy that we have somebody like that to work with.
In fairness, because, we're accepting by numbers in terms of asking technical, other like detailed questions. Do you have any experience with Olson Company or Scarlett? Are you aware of them?
No.
Okay.
Did they come out eating pill it?
As I said earlier, they're the only ones that came out to do the viewing of the cupola.
Fischette was the only one
On site, okay.
on site.
And it's no different than the other contractors. I deal with the electricians, the plumber. You guys really got a great team to take care of the town.
Okay, technically acceptable. The bid is under the required bond amount. Thank you for asking the question, Tim. Are there any other questions from the board? Liz, you had a question? Who's your question for?
The question is for if they later come back with a change order that puts them over the 25,000, do they then need to get bonded?
If there's a change order in over the 25,000, that'll be a material escalation, not in the labor.
Not in the labor. No, I mean, I think that's
I
a
don't
fair
understand.
question, right? What's the ruling on if he does come over? Because we haven't said, does the bid have any contingency in it?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So anything over 10K requires a contract.
Yes.
So in this case, we would put the not to exceed amount 24,999 in the contract.
Okay.
There was a change order.
So would that be stop work?
It wouldn't be able to exceed 24,999.
So they'd have to complete the contract for that price.
Correct. They signed it.
Once he's awarded, he's got to sign and accept it, so.
Okay. Brownfield. Okay. Any other questions? There are no further questions. I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to award the town hall cupola bid to Fichette Construction. Oh, in the amount of $24,400. Should I do that to exceed?
Yeah.
And not to exceed $24,999.
Motion. Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
You lost me at the delta of $599. The bid price was 24,400. That is what we should be contracted for. The question of change order, I understand. But that could affect the bottom line and the threshold. I understand there are cost increases. There could be materials increases, but we are presenting a $24,400 bid.
So that's what it should be.
Yeah,
That's what
as
you see.
presented, I cannot vote for this motion.
Okay, do you want to make an amendment?
I would amend, we make the motion to award the bid in the sum of $24,400 as was presented when this was opened on 5/22/2024 at 2 p.m.
I accept the amendment as the mover.
So second.
Ask the town administrator, does that substantially change anything in your process?
There's
Can
a
it
change
move, can
order
it
that's,
move, can it move forward as 24/4, not to exceed? If we vote it that way.
if no change orders occur, that would be fine.
Okay. Any further discussion on that amended motion? Do I vote on, actually, I think we can, yeah. Okay.
He amended, I accepted as the
Got it.
original mover, Terry accepted
Yeah.
as the original
It's for
secondary.
bigger things, like if we had an amendment in the thing, I'd want to take it amendment
Right.
by amendment, but I'm good with it the way it is. Any further discussion on the 24/4 amendment? Not to exceed. Okay, not hearing anything else on the motion to approve the bid for the town hall cupola repair for Fichette Construction, the amount of 24,400 not to exceed. How do you vote? Tim,
Reluctantly, yes.
Jeff,
No.
Terry,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
and I vote yes. It's four yeses and one no. Okay,
Thank you for letting me speak.
yes, absolutely. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Oh, wait, don't go anywhere.
I gotta get my.
Oh, okay.
Needs to get that.
Next item is item H, action related to approving chapter 90 road plan. In your packet, you will see 4 pages laying out Bob's chapter 90 plan for this year.
We also let the record show that,
Bob, you
Mr.
got crayons? Yeah, I want some. You got some crayons? I want
The crayons are coming from the Marine. I like it.
Oh, crayons.
we, let the record note that Mr. Sosa handed out a map of, recording the 2018 townwide pavement conditions as supplemental information to the
So
site.
noted, Jackie.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
apologize. I was working with Adam on this and I couldn't get it ready for the time I sent out the rest, so. I thought it would be worth looking at when we get to it.
Yes.
Bob, is this the new software?
No,
That's a color coding.
Uh,
Really into brand, color coding.
Bob Sozik, Director of Public Services.
Bob, go ahead.
Here to go over the chapter 90 plan for 2025. I'd like to start out with the 8x11 packet. If you look on the top, a balance unspent from last year was 186,663. Reason for that is we ran out of time in cold months. So with that being carried over to 25, the predicted FY 25 chapter 90 amount is 359,925. Predicted. I won't get authorization until
Pending,
July.
pending the budget authorization, et cetera, et cetera. et
And if
cetera.
you look down, you'll see that we're gonna be getting some fair share money of $121,743. We just got an email recently, excuse me, that's expected to drop within a couple of weeks. That money is gonna be like the RAP money. It's just gonna be directly dropped in Templeton's account. It's not gonna work like chapter 90 money. But I'm gonna include it in my chapter 90 plan. So that brings us with a total of $668,331 if all goes well. If you look in the first block in the routine maintenance, I'd like to continue doing some more crack seal on finishing Gardner Road, High Street as an alternate, short part of Wellington, and the short part of South Road, pretty much either side of the school and police station. And as we turn to the next page. You see, I have in the second block, 5 roads. We're still working with full reclamation, reclaiming the roads, regrading, base coats, top coat. This year, I'm proposing the 2 French Road. The 4,400 feet roughly. At Turner Street. Gray Road. Lamb City. And part of Rice Road. All these roads, the last 2 years, I actually communicate and work with Jessica out of Conservation. She brings her little maps and we go for a ride. And we go around and see the outfalls and where she requests me to put hay wattles or otherwise. I do that so I can plan how much material I need for that. We do have a few cross pipes we're gonna be changing out before pavement begins. I have the pipe coming, I believe, next week. Turner Street, we'll be replacing a cross culvert there. I know, Jeff, you had a question at one time, how was the culvert there? In the line, Gardner, Templeton is actually that smack middle of the bridge. So we'll be just the side of where they left off with the bridge.
Had they already worked on it?
No, the bridge is in good shape.
I just wondered if there was if Gardner had worked on it at all.
No, that bridge, I think they did it before I came. It's,
Yeah, it's right on the line.
yeah, but the middle of the brook is the town line.
Yep.
So, like I said, we're moving forward. Once this is all approved by MassDOT. And like I said, that fair share money should be dropping shortly. I can schedule a MassBrook that we have a contract with. Get moving on these projects. And if you want to move over to that map that me and Adam worked on, I thought it would be kind of nice. I will probably be able to do something like this once the software is up and running 100%. But me and Adam, we went over the roads just to kind of give you a visual highlighted yellow. That you can really start to see that progress in the town is happening. Still got a very lot to do, but you can see a notice of changes happening. In the ones you see in orange, is the proposed work that I just went over with you for 2025.
Thanks, Bob. Any questions for Bob?
Is there any of these roads got town water on it?
I'm not sure if Turner.
Turner. was just looking at the
I
bridge.
email the sewer, the water, like I notify everybody to see if they have any reason for me not to move forward on these projects.
Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, no, I reach out and make sure I get their blessing, but it is gonna come to a point where I have these older mains. I don't wanna waste town money because we should be replacing a water line or, you know what I'm saying? And if there is sewer, Jeff usually will go out, check the manholes and their stuff is in pretty much good shape from what I dealt with in the
I
past.
just don't want to pave the road and then you gotta tear it up to
Yeah.
for the water.
Oh, no,
mains.
I don't wanna tear it up either. There is a, I didn't know he lived over there, Dana or Blaze. He's putting in a house there and I reached out to him to make sure he gets his stub in before I do the work.
Any other questions for Bob? So any work would be pending, coordination with any applicable.
On MassDOT, yeah, if they, for some reason, something happened to our allocation, I would have to, if you look on one of these pages, I have the right to reconfigure my plan as proposed to make it work for what monies I have.
Right. Final construction decisions are made upon the acquisition of easements or right way. Detailed engineering and actual bids received within work deletions or initiatives based on final bids. I think that's what you meant.
Yep,
Yep.
and since I've been here, I haven't had a problem with what the state said we were gonna get.
Okay. There are no additional questions for Bob, Mr. Chair? Oh. Gail?
Gail Noel, it's just a silly question. Do you think we'll ever be in a position to use chapter 90 funds for bridges?
Bob, your thoughts on that?
Yes, you can use chapter 90 money for bridges, you can use it for line painting, you can use it for a lot of things. But when I came here 6 years ago, the roads are to me are a priority. The bridges, we should be getting funding or otherwise, because of what I received, 350,000 ain't gonna do nothing for a bridge.
We had the road study, I think,
Right.
just around the same time that you came
Yeah, and
in.
we're talking about refreshing that as well.
Okay. Thanks, Gail. Any other questions? There are no further questions. I didn't take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve chapter 90 plan as presented.
Okay. Motion. Is there a second? Jeff is the second. Any further discussion? Hearing none on the motion to approve the chapter 90 road plan as presented, how would you vote? Tim?
I'm going to abstain. I live on Gray Road and I don't want the appearance of any improprieties or impartial or unfair treatment on my behalf.
Thank you, Tim. Jeff? Yes. Harry?
Yes.
Matt?
I am also going to abstain for the same reasons as Mr. Toth.
Good thing I'm gonna say yes. So it's 2 abstains and 3 yeses. Thank you very much. Nice job.
Just a note on that, I know, I understand where you guys are coming from, but I did buy a Gray Road and I like to complete a low road. Nothing to do who and where or what lives on it, it's complete the road, so it's not done and off the books. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Bob.
Appreciate it. Okay, we are up to I, discussion, possible election ballot question on Main Street Bridge. Folks, we know that the town meeting, we did pass. We were moving forward with a debt exclusion at town meeting, and then it failed at the town election. By an odd margin of two votes with
65 blanks.
65 blanks. I asked to put this on for a discussion because I talked with the town clerk. There is an August 6th deadline where we can get another ballot question for a debt exclusion on the state ballot. And I did that from the perspective, and I understand that, we don't have $3 million. I understand that there is still state money pending a decision. I also, Adam had considered the TIP program for placing that bridge on the TIP program, like the Rotary and Royalston Road. It would likely take years, but I wanted to have the discussion to be able to say, is it worth another go based on that anomaly between town meeting and the town election? So the discussion, it would be, do we want to try and go again for a debt exclusion for the Main Street Bridge that would be in, go, keep the funding for the town meeting? And then the ballot question would be similar to those. Any discussion? I'm in favor of doing that, going again and giving the question, giving the community again the ability to be able to resource Main Street Bridge construction that we are still trying to pair a grant to. We've missed the current grant. Yes.
Just for clarification, I believe we would have to have a special town meeting as well. I believe it's 60 days, but it was defeated by 2 votes. So I think we would still have to have a special town meeting with the warrant article as well. Okay. If we were to do it that way. If the board
Has to
were
be
to
within
move on.
60 days. Or would fall town meeting suffice, or does it have to be a special town meeting?
Well, we have till September 15th to have another election, a ballot question for the contingent article that passes. And we can have multiple ballots. Multiple special elections, but, to ask it multiple times. I was looking at the recommendation for the DOR and the contingent questions, because this happens historically a lot. There'll be a contingent debt exclusion question at town meeting, and it always passes because everybody's. That's just my opinion. And then historically, they have failed at the ballot, but it has been not in recent memory, but it has been done in the past where it was asked of the voters at a ballot again. I believe most of them failed the second time, but I look at the ballot and 65, in my opinion, 65 blanks. It could have been just people just making a statement. I think there's a good chance people miss the question. Because I'm of the opinion that a debt exclusion, you were either for it or hell no, and you would write in no to make sure, you got your no vote. Where it was only 2 votes, 310, 308, and 65 blanks. I'm thinking it's possible some people didn't see the question at the bottom of the ballot. Because it's at the very bottom and small writing, specimen ballot.
Yeah.
So it's an option. Where, people might, what do people feel? I mean, if you try it again and it fails, well, then that's pretty much no. But 2 votes and 65 blanks. It's, yeah. I'm thinking it's possible that a lot of those blanks just didn't see it. Didn't see it. Just
I agree with you. You know, for the project and the likelihood that we would be able to seek reimbursement. You know, whether we do it as a ban or otherwise, the grant takes care of it. I want to market it that way, but I think it's worth going for. With the rest of the board.
And if I may, of course, another thought that I have that maybe people didn't see it was at the end of town meeting that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, election day. The election and the sample ballot was not on the main page of the town website. I took a screenshot of it, I took a picture of it. It still had the voter's guide. You went to templetonmass.gov, it comes up, top of the thing, in the center of the page was the voter's guide on election day. It happened last Wednesday, it's done. The election and the sample ballot, which is it was on the website like 2 pages back, you have to click. And you shouldn't have to look at that. Town meetings at the top, it's over with. You have especially when you have a question like this, a follow-up question for a town meeting vote, essentially. Election and sample ballot should have been on the main page Thursday. You don't need the voter's guide anymore. You got your results.
As far as the news.
Yeah, as far as he's talking
'Cause I
about
st- I
marketing and
refer back
informing
to
people
all
and
kinds
letting
of
them
stuff.
know, you go to the webpage and you don't see it there, it's like, well, like, oh, Hunt and Peckett, if you want to inform people and you want to be transparent and you want to try to, because it's a two-part question. So the second part should have been on the top of the website on Thursday, but it wasn't. And that's just, that's bad, lack of transparency, trying to inform the people. And, that town meeting vote to create a website back in 2004 was to post town information, inform the residents. And you're not informing them, you're not helping them if you don't have it on the main page. Click templetonmass.gov, boom, it should have been Templeton annual election, sample ballot, you click on it and you could see it. And look at it. I don't know if that would make anybody see it when they go to vote, but it wasn't there, so you certainly don't help yourself. Thank you.
Any other discussion? This is just basic discussion. I'd look for some kind of consensus. Two so far leaning towards putting it on the ballot.
I personally feel that I feel the same way that Jeff does, in that 65 blanks could be, it could be people making a statement, but I think that in my mind, it's more likely it was at the bottom of the ballot and people didn't necessarily see it. And if that's the case, I would say that it's worth putting back on, putting back out to the voters one more time and seeing what it comes back at. My only question would be is, can we do something different in that? Is it, because we don't have, if I would assume that we're shooting for the general election ballot for November, if we're gonna do this. But can we do something differently? Namely, what I'm thinking is, does a ballot question have to be at the bottom? Could it be at the top? And then you go through the list of candidates that you're voting on. That's the sort of thing that I would want to take a look
I
at.
don't know, it sounds odd, like you're trying
Yeah.
to arrange a
I-
ballot
and-
so it gets people to
And
vote a certain way.
no, not even that so people vote a certain way, it's just so people see it better. But again, there's also probably regulation as to what the ballot's supposed to look like, and that's,
It's
that's what I would
marketing.
ask, yeah.
I agree with you on the marketing side.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
to the points of Mr. Bennett and Mr. Rivard. when we have a state general election coming up, you go to the Secretary of State's website, there is a sample ballot. There is also a voters informational guide. A lot of them come down to, and as much as it drives me up a wall, voting yes means this will not happen. Voting no means this will happen, and it's explained. I think what we had at the town meeting with our input from our advisory committee is equally as important on this ballot. Advisory recommends either for or against. And just, it's in line with the Secretary of State's practices.
Yep.
And maybe people would not have missed it. I'm of the same opinion Mr. Bennett is. I think people skipped and did not read all the way to the bottom of the page, just by the large number of blanks.
Okay.
Just a comment, no thought.
What's your feeling on going forward, as a ballot?
Why not?
That's the worst thing that's gonna happen. They're gonna say no again. I mean, in all honesty. Yeah.
With all the
Worth a shot.
suggestions in place, I think that we have a shot. If we can make sure, like Tim said, voting yes means, what do you say, voting yes means no.
Like the Secretary of State guidelines.
Yeah,
I-
that would help.
go to
I
the
think
clerk
that would
for-
help.
yeah.
with People getting it on the webpage out in front ahead of time. That's a good suggestion. So all good suggestions, and we should give it a shot because that bridge does have to get repaired. And then if the funding comes through, right, we have 3 million potentially. Or is that off the table?
It's stand by, the grand opportunity.
Yeah.
Bob, your answer, I'm still going with board comments, but, in terms of town officer answering the question, go ahead.
I just want to say I'm standing behind you on trying to put this through again. Because it's showing you guys are doing your due diligence. And if it does get shut down, you know, I think it's definitely worth it, another shot with a
Yeah,
little more
I agree.
explanation.
You know, I'm concerned about moving forward as a requirement, and it's not improving with time, it's degrading with time. So whether we talk in days, weeks, months, or years, and I think to your point, and I've heard in a couple of meetings, maybe not on the select board, but the advisory committee talked about it. This has been going on for years, and it had a different cost associated with it. And as we're moving on, the cost is going up, but also the infrastructure is degrading. And I don't want to do that. If we're in a position to be able to reclaim infrastructure and make people safe. I mean, it's Main Street, you know what I mean? It's a Main Street project. All right, thank you for that. You all set? Gail?
The people I've talked to felt that this was like signing a blank check. Because it
Understood.
didn't have any dollar amount.
We will proceed in a different way.
So, a couple of comments. I'm sure it was posted someplace, the ballot, and when you went to actually vote. But if not, highlighting it when you go to vote, you know, a lot more, make it quite clear that there is something at the bottom. I remember.
We're definitely gonna have those discussions. Yes.
Past years, and talking years ago, there used to be a ballot, right? And it would highlight, point, all sorts of other things would happen to say, hey, there's stuff here that you need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
That on the day of, that doesn't help with mail-in ballots and stuff.
Yeah.
But that would help on the day of polling, more advertising, more awareness, because I don't think it was well advertised, what people were voting
Yeah.
for or against. My opinion, no.
Thanks, Liz. And people, there are yes votes, there are no votes. I want people to vote, it's a town decision. But I know that as we discuss it and the select board puts it on the warrant, we're obviously advocates to be able to do it. So within the bounds of law, I want to be an advocate for it, but I also want to respect people's vote to say no. So whether I'm there with a picket that says, save Main Street Bridge. Or someone says, no, I hate that bridge. I don't know. Laura.
I was just gonna say that I think that as the child of older residents, there was a lack of understanding about a debt dropping off and a new debt going on, and if more information could get out about that, it might be helpful.
Thank you. Again, this is just a discussion tonight. Good discussion. A lot of different points, but I think it's gonna have to be followed up with work. So it sounds like there is consensus that we'd like to move forward with that. I think we all gotta move forward together with it, make sure that we're tracking with the clerk, that that we've got the suggested language. Take a look and see what we can actually put to expand. Do you have that sample down?
I know on the state ballot, you gotta get permission from the Secretary of State.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah,
There's a frame in there to let them know.
to be able to, but if you can put that out there, a no vote would do this. And within the bounds of what you're allowed to be able to say a no vote, a yes vote would. Okay.
Even if we changed the font and bolded it like all the subtitle areas, I think it would have drawn attention to it. Cause that's some mighty small print at the bottom of the page.
Because, yeah, I think the 65
I almost
was the people that missed it. Because I'll just comment on the ballot and the attitude of voters at this election time. Looking at ballots during the recount, there were people that wrote in positions, I don't like either one. I mean, they wrote that on the ballot. That was their choice, but that was their vote.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was 5 or 6 ballots that I saw that, I mean, so I believe if somebody, that ballot question, if they saw it, it was a yes or no. I mean, and if they were really against it, I believe they would have voted no to ensure. I want to make sure I say no if I'm against it, or yes, I'm for it.
Agreed.
I just think the 2-vote margin and 65 blanks. At least some of them, I think, we might probably miss the question. I think.
I'm gonna move on. I saw there might have been a public comment.
No motion necessary.
No motion. Just a resident comment. Nobody's gonna write you a blank check. Thank you for that. All right. So moving forward, we will pursue that. So as a discussion, but we'll move forward with that. All right, last 2 new businesses, J and K are both Terry's. One is an updated related to Royalston Road project, and then the other is a discussion related to select board requirements on committees. Terry?
I believe Mr. Lemon Hagg's gonna speak to the Royalston Road.
Okay.
Thank you.
I saw the Inchstone timeline schedule in our packet.
You have the schedule in your packet, Mr. Chair. And what we're looking at is Royalston Road. It's on the transportation improvement plan for fiscal year 2027, 2028. And hopefully it doesn't get pushed out any further. I have a meeting with the folks putting together the design for the project for it to get to 100% submittal next week. So we're in contact with Massachusetts Department of Transportation. And that's where I have Royalston Road at the moment. But we have the funding for the appraisals and the title work. So for the municipalities' obligations for this project, we have the funding in place. But like, for example, the appraisals are time sensitive. Generally, you don't get those done until 6 months before start the appraisal work. So that's where we're at with the project. And you have the schedule in your packet.
So the public can see it.
Within the packet, yes.
Yeah, I mean, people good with Microsoft Project are gonna be able to read this like a book. Otherwise, I mean, you gotta jump all around. I mean, it's good. I see schedules like this all day. But again, it's sorted by job, not by time. So that's just the only difficulty in Fussell O'Neill's schedule. No, that's not your schedule.
Mr. Chair, it's also on Bob's
They
presentation.
have one out there that has the year thing on it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Cool.
By year. Yeah, because if this is broken down by work breakdown structure. We're on the left-hand side.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
It's also in Bob's purview on his map. It says right here. Tip FY 2027, 28 dotted lines and Wilson. It's up in the top.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Terry,
Mr. Chair, I move to table the next item.
have a motion.
Seconded.
I have a motion and a second to table the next item. So, Terry, puts it on later. Any further discussion? Motion to table item K. How do you vote? Tim?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes,
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Okay, we have finished new business. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Did I miss something?
Oh, I had sent you a text. I had spoke at a turn, had Saturday on the brain, the hours for Sunday licenses are 10 a.m.
Or 10 a.m.
So I need to ask the board to either revote or we can put it to the next week, whatever you want to do. I just wanted to make sure I caught that.
So this goes back.
Made the motion. I know, Jackie, you got it, you have a different style, like sometimes you'll go back and rewatch the meeting for these things.
Yes.
But I think I'd rather,
Are you talking-
if the board,
Café,
Eric
you found-
made it.
I made the motion.
okay,
Yes.
So it's for 10.
Seconded by Bennett. Sorry.
we have to make sure we notify. So you'd basically just amend your motion to change from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. per
10 a.m.
per the law,
10
10 a.m.
10
Oh,
a.m.
to whatever. Sorry, per Mass General Law.
Yes, 10 a.m. we start.
Does John know?
He will.
We will.
I will email.
Real
He
quick.
been serving 8 o'clock? He said.
No, he's been doing 11, but again,
Okay.
I Sunday is a different day, so that's why
Okay.
I asked the question. Thank you for looking that up.
So, Mr. Chair, I amend my previous motion. Right here.
Okay.
I move to approve the Bradlilly Company DBA The Country Cafe change of hours from 10 a.m.
Two times.
to 10 a.m. to,
Instead of 8 a.m.
oh, instead of 8 a.m. 10 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. to close.
Just a quick, my parliamentary over there.
Do I have to put the word alcohol in there?
Okay.
Second.
Do I have to put the word alcohol in there?
We're just amending it from 8 to 10. I think that suffices.
It's a license amendment. It's implied that it's the alcoholic
Yeah.
beverages.
Okay.
And you were the second?
What was the second?
You were,
It wasn't it?
Bennett was.
oh,
It
Ben,
was Jeff Bennett. Okay, so Jeff would have to accept the amendment.
Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, any discussion on amending our previous motion from earlier this evening, changing the hour from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. consistent with Massachusetts ABCC.
8 a.m. to 10 a.m. You said 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said it right this time. I said it wrong again. I need to go get checked. 8 a.m. to 10
Close.
a.m.
There you go.
yes, 8 a.m. to
You got it,
10 a.m.
How do you vote, Tim?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes,
Matt?
Yes.
I vote yes as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good catch.
Okay, we are now into old business. First, old business is action related to James E. Wilson versus the town of Templeton et al. And this is a settlement that we had a prior executive session, and then we had a failed motion in our last meeting, but we still have the court case out there. Come on up. Thank you.
thanks, Lori.
Stay with, I guess we're staying within the bounds of what we can. Yep.
Right. What I'm asking is that we reconsider. I don't know how much information or what questions I can answer if there are any.
We're saving money.
A lot. The property has been cleaned. Everybody can see that. This was at. I don't know what I can say all the way. I'm asking for you to reconsider your vote.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I would like to just read from the town bylaws briefly for clarification for the board. Under section 47-4, Town Council 47-2, authority to settle claims. I'm sorry, 47-2, authority to settle claims. It's chapter 47, section 2. The board may at its discretion compromise or settle any claim or suit to which the town is a party, which does not require the payment by the town of an amount in excess of $10,000. No settlement or of a claim or suit obligating the town in an amount of excess of $10,000 shall be made except as authorized by law with the consent of a town meeting. Okay. The request here in old business is for $2,850. This would be well within our jurisdiction as the select board to decide on here.
Would you like to make a motion?
I move to settle James E. Wilson versus the Town of Templeton et al. Settlement in the amount of $2,850.
Have a motion?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? Or any questions for Lori? Thank you for being here tonight. You brought a packet.
There's no place she would rather be.
I'm smiling.
Just for dramatic effect, I was going to bring the whole file. This is only 2023 through today.
Only.
I couldn't carry the rest.
How much thicker is the rest of the file? Just out of more, whoa. Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion or questions for Lori? On settling? Hearing none on the motion to settle, how do you vote, Tim? Yes. Jeff?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I'll
Lori.
even stay for the rest of it.
We appreciate it.
Next item under old business is action related to the Candlelight Cafe outdoor only alteration of premises. You have that in your packet. I think adding the pavilion, the 40 by 50 pavilion to the existing licensed premises. I've driven by there. I've seen the pavilion in relation to the main building. Is there anyone here from Candlelight? Hi, sir. How are you?
I can.
Step up to the mic, Jim.
Come on up and join us.
What we have in our packet, I believe is clear. If you wanted to add anything to it or answer any questions from the board.
State your name and who you're representing first, please.
Yeah, I'm representing the Candlelight. My name's Tim Garen.
Okay.
Hi, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
How are you?
Good chair. I might have some clarification.
Yes.
I'm sure you all received the notice I sent from the ABCC that they had now. It's on the local board to approve these licenses, and that's why I wanted to bring it back, because when you voted for this in the first place, it was going to the ABCC for confirmation and investigation. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of what was going to be done. We did have a training on it. They're putting all of these outdoor premise alteration only on the local licensing authority to approve because of the governor's legislation. And then they will also have the authority, of course, to override that if they think something needs it. I wasn't sure how the board would want to move forward with approving these, so I talked to Chief Bennett as a local licensing agent and asked him if he would be willing to go out and inspect it and see if he thinks it would be safe, for drinking. But he did go out and talk to Mr. Guerin, and I think on the application, he had just put the pavilion, but I think he does want to also have the grass area. Is that correct? That's what Chief Bennett got from your discussion.
Yeah, the grass area is included in
In
our area, yeah.
So the map I have in there, if you see that, it's all fenced off, it's all interconnected and in a safe enough way. And I do have an email from Chief Bennett that he is in full support of it and that Mr. Huron has done everything he needs to do. In fact, he actually said his setup is exactly what the town should be looking for in establishments such as his that do not have natural boundaries from the public. The diagram provided by Mr. Guerin does accurately depict the outside serving area. So he's in full favor of it.
Thank you. Any boards, any questions from the board? So pavilion, I would expect to see the amendment, the, on the form. We should add the grassy area.
Add it
No,
on the
per-
application.
Yeah, and then it says, per the attached diagram. Oh, it says, it already is attached. It says, please utilize the space to provide any additional information. So it's already a part of the form. But I think that under item 2A and 2B, it should specify the grassy area.
Because right now it only specifies the pavilion. If he wants to have the grassy area included, it probably should be there, yeah.
Yeah, we can add that one.
And then if there's any change to square footage or anything like that, that would be adjusted as well. Any further questions?
I think the only thing that I would ask is this a situation where this should be tabled so they can bring it back with the corrected form or?
Yeah.
Oops. Hi, oh,
I wanted my two.
I added the description of premises onto the current one on the new license, should you approve it.
Good.
That does have it all.
And the outdoor fenced in grass area, so our actual license that we would sign actually has it on there. You can do a pending change on the ABCC form. I'd be fine with that.
okay, so in that case, I move to approve the Candlelight Cafe outdoor only alteration of premises pending addition on the ABCC form of the grassy area.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? When you use those areas, do you increase staff?
Yeah. We do.
When do you use those areas? Is that normal operation or is it based on it?
It's, we may have we have a function,
Okay,
and then we open it,
okay. I don't have any other questions. Any other questions from the rest of the board?
I have one.
I'm just glad to see that he's making a lot of improvements.
Yes, I agree. I drive by and it's great.
That whole place has been there for longer than I can remember. And it used to be a little rough back in the back in the day. It's been various things, but he's really improving it.
I appreciate that.
Food was actually, I ate there a couple times, food's pretty good. It's an improvement for me, just want to have a beer and just to come.
On the motion to approve the Candlelight Cafe outdoor only alteration of premise pending addition to the ABCC form. That's what
Of
you
the
said.
grassy area, yes.
Grassy area. How would you vote? Tim?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes,
Matt?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Tim, thanks for coming in tonight.
Thank you, Tim.
hard working man there.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.
Okay, last item of old business is a discussion related to, not a follow-on of our last discussion, which was like an after action review, but this is more, I'm taking this as more of, taking a look at some of the more pressing issues that we had with respect to accommodation to the participants. So this is just a discussion related to town meeting issues and TCTV update. I'm assuming that you're leading that discussion.
I guess I am. Sure.
I want to just make sure, like, I don't want to rehash the stuff that you went over or some of the other.
I'll give you a
points.
quick update.
Yeah, quick
From
update,
the
and I think
bullet-
it's
from-
accommodation, I think is what we're focusing on.
Yeah, from the bullet points I sent you.
Yep,
we've
thank
been
you.
in touch with the school. They are willing to give our crew training on the audio board and the lighting system, which we need. And they were also informed that their hearing assistive device, the antenna is broken, and they're remedying that with a new antenna.
Nice.
So that's all I have for that.
Okay.
So we're in touch with them, and if, I think Adam had mentioned there might be a body put together and meet occasionally. I would be glad to address that. And I would like Hannah on that because she leads our crew. I'm not gonna work town meetings much anymore. I'm there to help them and get them, make sure that they're all set, but they lead the charge and she needs to know the system more than I do.
Thanks. I really appreciate you looking at different avenues, not only for training for the, integration for using that space, that auditorium, but some of the accommodation issues that are coming up that we have to take a look at, like basic ADA, any accommodations that we might have coming. That's not fully on you. That is on us collectively to be able to work on handling, so we're able to meet all of our residents, whatever needs they may have.
Yeah, and Graceland and I touched base on that today.
That's fantastic as well. I appreciate that.
So I just can't, I would overstep my bounds if I went ahead and worked on the ADA stuff. Because that's not,
Yeah,
that's not our domain.
you're putting the resources together. I think that's great. Dottie, did you have something to add?
If I may, I did touch base with Graceland and, if she doesn't mind, if she could just step up to the mic and speak about, been doing a lot of research on ADA grants and, owning some stuff and
Okay.
if she could.
Good evening, Grace.
So it may be a little bit much for the conversation tonight, but I did meet with TCTV earlier today. And there are some grants, some ADA grants, specifically for the ADA hearing assistants. There's several options for live captioning services that can vary anywhere from hiring a stenographer, or various like hardware or software purchases. That can range anywhere from like wearable closed captioning devices. There's some cool ones that like attach to glasses, and some other like AI transcription technology. Yeah, and so I think the next step we needed to decide what types of live captioning services would meet ADA requirements as far as making a reasonable accommodation. And I think we're going to meet with town council tomorrow to decide that.
Okay.
And that'll inform what grants are available to us in the future.
Great. Any questions for Grace or TCTV?
Just a quick general comment. I appreciate doing the research and digging into this and presenting this. I'm still going to remind everybody, we do not own that building. That is the Narragansett Regional School District's building. And I would be very cautious on us securing a grant for the NRSD.
Yeah, absolutely.
That-
And
This is a conversation I think has to be had with the school committee as well.
right. And if there were any hardware that needed to be installed in the school, that would not be eligible under a grant, that it would have
Yep.
to be owned by the town and stored with the town. Yep. All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Grace.
Any other board member questions?
Just, yeah, would that come under the Board of Health if the equipment is purchased to be stored?
I would think that TCTV would wind up having a lot of it, it would be integrated. Could you speak?
It would be in our.
Okay. Good point. Any other board member? Liz?
This is all talking about ears, and hearing, nothing about the visual. So my comment, public comments also applies to this, is the fact that if you don't have a printed copy available for some people prior to the meeting, right, which would meet the the requirements of the bylaw, right? You're running into a problem. And the bylaw, in my opinion, was violated because there was not a printed copy available prior to it. And everything I've heard tonight, everything I heard in the prior meeting was all about being able to hear. It's also about the visual. And what is happening is that you do have people who have some visual problems. You do have people who have some hearing problems. That the ideas of being things available needs to be a little broader for people who can't hear everything, but having just something that's attached to their head isn't going to meet everybody's needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Appreciate it. Any other people we move on? All right. We are out of old business. Board member comments, and then we've got an executive session that we will not be coming back into public meeting for. So board member comments. Usually just let whoever is ready to go first.
I have a quick couple things, if that's all right.
Sure.
Okay, so the highway software update, Mary Beth knows the system, so she's all good to go, and the setup is all there, all the data is there. The next step is to train Mike and Chet from highway. Bob's practicing his portion, and after Mike and Chet train, others are going to be trained. And Arnie's coming out for an on-site training from California to train the others July 9th. And one of the things that impressed me why Mary Beth went with this particular software, because a lot of software doesn't allow the corporation or whatever you want to call it, that buys it to own the data. So if we ever decide to sever ties, we still own the data, all the data.
Terry, just quick again, what is the software cover?
What?
What is the software cover?
The whole town? It covers, so,
What's the name of the software?
what is it?
Software work order.
Software work order? What is that? You mean the name of the package?
I just wondered what the software was for.
Oh, so you name it.
Work order.
It's for work orders, it's for keeping track of inventory. Remember how you were asking for what the town has as far as inventory? And it was just in the audit. It will cover that.
I just wanted to
It
take the
covers-
right note.
It covers,
DPW software or?
yeah, it covers roads, bridges,
Got it.
MS4 compliance, storm drains, you name it. It's all on there. That's why I asked with his map if that was from, because it does color code. So if you have a road that's done, you have a certain color. That's on the queue, you have another color. If it's in the process, you have another color.
I understand.
So, thank you. And then on a fluke, I was trying to look up the Board of Health meeting. And I ended up on a recording from 5/8/2023, which I'd recommend to the public to watch. Because in the beginning, it's the USDA housing and helping people with low interest loans to get a house in Templeton, and it was very interesting. But the second part of that was a presentation by Madison Wellman. Of course, his name fits his job, from the Coalition for Safe Drinking Water, and a joint operation with RCAP Solutions, which I mentioned before that Lori made a pamphlet, and it was low interest rate private wealth loans for the town. So it started back in May 8th, 2023, and RCAP Solutions is a small nonprofit out of Worcester, and they're funded by the Health Foundation out of Central Mass is the primary funder of the initiative. So they did an initiative through the state, and they found a disparity in private wells. There are no regulations or anything pending for private wells. And so they did some sampling out of the faucet. 32 wells had contaminants. So their goals are to enact sensible health-based regulations for private wells and provide funding options. And I don't know if I thought the bill got shot down. But Lori was able to present me with this when I mentioned that I watched that. This is your well water safe? So, and I just wanna, I won't read the whole pamphlet. Ask your local health department where to get your well water tested and if there are any other groundwater concerns in your area. And then the other flag that I had is that this is very critical free private well class program will help protect your family's health, avoid costly well problems, and extend the life of your private well. 10-lesson virtual course can be taken on your own time. So all that information is in here. There's suggestions on testing your water annually, visually inspect your well, keep a file, take care of your septic system. Well worth a pickup at the Board of Health office for people that are new in town or people that have private wells. That's my 2 cents on that. And then I need to run something by you. I was in the woods and I am the Templeton Developmental Center liaison. I ran into Alan Berman and I asked him to send me, he was marking out the Mass Wildlife side of the Templeton Developmental Center. He had 43 miles to map. And he showed me the map. We got into a discussion. I said I'm the liaison. This was just a Saturday afternoon. So he sent me the map and it caused a lot of people to be interested in it. One person, Joanne Burden, Dennis, Rich. So I wanted to present this to the board. I don't know if it's anything we can put on a future meeting to discuss. That's it. That's the map of the, it's a zoning
Want it
map,
on a future,
basically.
yeah, just email me what you would like on the agenda, especially if you have that electronically, so we can get it. That it's easier to put it electronically.
Yeah, I sent it.
Yeah,
I
okay.
sent it. But I'm wondering if it's appropriate for our agenda, because I just want to talk about the agricultural areas they can bring to the town. If, you know, I don't know if it's something I should present to EDIC. What's the best avenue to not waste people's time? Agricultural Commission?
Yeah. I was gonna say, if it's not appropriate here, it's gonna AgCom,
You can send it to me.
Okay,
open space.
okay, would everybody like a copy?
We did some appointments for open space this evening.
So would you all like a copy tonight?
Sure.
Okay,
Can we please note it on the record that this is being presented? Thank you.
yeah. Jackie already has.
Thanks, Terry.
You're welcome, and that's it. Thank you.
Matt, Tim, Jeff?
I yield my time to Selectman Griffiths.
Well said. Jeff or Tim? I'm sorry. Matt or Tim?
Just 2 quick things.
Yes.
We've discussed it a few times. I'm gonna flog the dead horse one more time. Electronic locks for all town buildings. It is high time we come into the 21st century so we can see who is in and out
I
of
agree.
all of our town buildings.
Yep.
And the second thing,
You think it'll be a capital item?
quite possibly,
All right. You want to work together? put that
Absolutely.
Together, okay. Be happy to.
and
I agree.
the last thing I have, our chairs, it's time to replace them. They have reached the end of their useful
Yes.
life.
Yep, I know where we're at and we're gonna get new money or otherwise, but Holly and I talked about it this evening. Yeah, I'm covered in.
Flex stuff.
Yep,
Oh,
Like
me
leather.
too.
So yes, working on it, Tim. Thank you.
thank you.
I just want to say to all of the students in NRSD, Monty Tech, I'm speaking for NRSD specifically today because tomorrow is the last day of school. Woo, yay, wonderful. Congratulations on another excellent school year. And we look forward to seeing you back. Those of you who haven't graduated, we look forward to seeing you back in late August to start with we hope will be another very successful school year. And that is it, other than please play nice with me in 2 weeks.
Matt's got the overseas on work. All right, I'm all set for this evening. It was board member comments. Thank you. Okay. Were you here during
Yeah, it was,
Never-
but it
You-
came
you-
up during.
Yeah, it's not for discussion, Joe. Thank you. All right, that's the end of board member comments. Is it needed? Okay,
Okay.
I would, sure, yes, go
I
ahead.
move to enter executive session. Per MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, strategy, recollecting bargaining agreement with the professional firefighters of Templeton, Local 5311, International Association of Firefighters, AFL-CIO, and to return from executive session for the sole purpose to end the meeting, to close the regular business meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none on the motion to go into executive session, how would you vote? Tim?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. We are in executive session. Well, we'll take a 5-minute pause for
We'll be in executive
TCPD
session.
and, but as